Kristin Brindley. Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Moyer.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So Jason Moyer and Moyer Sons has been a supporter of DC Metro Real Producers from the beginning, and we appreciate their partnership. And Jason, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about the story, the rich history of Moyer Sons.
Well, that's a long story, but I'll give you a short one. My grandfather started the company in 1969. The first moving crew was my grandfather, my grandmother, my father, and my 3 uncles. So since then, it's grown a little bit more. We're now at 46 trucks, 70 employees, and 2 locations.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so
a little bit of growth.
A little bit of growth in 50 years. So it's an exciting year. So I say 50 years. So this year we are celebrating 50.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool accomplishment.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my father, 2 uncles, cousin, brother, myself. I'm sorry, 2 cousins, and currently 2 out of the 4th generation work part time because they're still young. But like the rest of us are currently working here. So it's pretty awesome.
That's a legacy of 4 generations in a business.
Yeah, it's great. You can see your family every day and then go home and leave them. So
yeah,
it's great.
and then not have them. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about the process of how that came to be?
Sure. So it's funny because my grandfather was just focused on doing little moves. Montgomery Village was being built, this little place called Montgomery Village, 50 years ago. And George Albin worked at Kettler Brothers, who built the community and knew my grandfather, and asked him to create this company. And funny enough, 4 years later, another mover recommended a guy to my grandfather to move. That guy worked at the government, and that created, then 5 years later, a government contract. So that was really the big boom. And then you fast forward, that was all in Gaithersburg. You fast forward to 1990, we moved to this location in Clarksburg, Maryland. Yeah. And then you go 29 years after that, we acquired another location in Elkridge. So
expanding
a little bit,
yeah, here and there, how big is that space? You guys have a lot of space.
This warehouse is 33,000 square feet. The warehouse up in Elkridge is approximately 15,000 square feet.
Fantastic. Good for you.
Plenty of space to store your stuff.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you guys do your marketing? How do you get your clients? Give us the goods. How do you get clients?
Well, the obvious answer is we do great magazines like Real Producers, which is great. No, you all do have great events, and it's good. Most of you all know Dan Cumberland. You've met him at events, but he's the one out there. He's talking to all the people at your events, and it's great. Y'all do good stuff. Other than that, Dan's main focus when we sat down, when Dan came on board, was to go out and build relationships, right? All of us can go out and meet 100 people at an event and just say, hey, here's my card, here's my card, here's my... My whole philosophy, which is good because it was Dan's also, is to go out and meet you all, let you all know about us, learn about us, and slowly give us opportunities to try to help you all, or be there to help educate or give you insight into our business. And it's a big philosophy. It's a simple one, but most people aren't willing to put in that time because it's not I'm gonna go to an event and yay, I got 3 jobs. It's I'm gonna go put in 2 years of building relationships so we can all trust each other. You need to trust us, we gotta trust you.
I love it. I feel like that's probably a large component on how you guys have built a legacy and not just a business.
Yeah.
4 generations is... And you guys give back too. Can you tell us a little bit about, you guys give back a nice amount.
We do. We're very, very fortunate now that we're able in the position to do so. But Montgomery County Coalition of Home, which was a really cool thing, they help get people back on their feet, get them off the streets, get a job, get a place to live. So once they get their place to live, what we do is we offer to help them move this furniture that was donated to them into their new apartment or home, wherever they're moving to. You have Kind Works, Caring Matters, American Cancer Society. There's a lot of different ones that we work with, and we're very fortunate to be able to do so.
That's great, because you guys give time, money, you help them move things. You guys do a lot of. I love that about Moyer Sons. Is there any other ways that you guys do advertising or get clients?
you do. My brother John does all our social media, so he does Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook. He does advertising on Facebook, and so he does all of that. Other than that, there's not much else that we do. I mean, it's the same thing I think most people do is your normal Yelps, Angie's List, all the stuff you kind of have to keep it floating out there.
And we were talking earlier about execution, right?
Yeah, so execution, I think, I don't know if it's a quote, but Bill Belichick said, and I really believe in this because all movers, what are we doing? We're doing the same thing. We're getting you from one house to the next, right? What's the big difference? To go back to Bill Belichick, he said, the Patriots don't do anything special. They just execute better than everybody else, right? You don't have to like the Patriots. That's not what I'm saying. I'm a Redskins fan.
Mic drop, but yeah.
But yeah, but it's true. If you just execute the best way you know how, the results are always going to be good. They are. Even if you fumble the ball and you get the ball back, you executed. You found a way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just through repetition and execution.
And you're a coach, right?
I am. I coach lacrosse and basketball and a little bit of soccer for my 2 kids.
Just a little bit of coaching here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only year round. Leave a full-time job to a part-time job every day.
Every day, yeah. Parents say what?
Yeah.
So every business has a secret weapon, something they attribute their success to. A habit, someone, something. What would that be for you guys?
I think that goes back to having an office staff of over 20 years average working in the moving and storage industry. We have a family of 4 that works here.
Wow.
We have drivers guys that were drivers when I was a kid, whose sons are my age or a little bit younger, that are also drivers here. It's just so much experience in such a small company. There's a lot of experience here. Even our GM in Baltimore, his dad owned a company. He has 50 years of experience. I mean, there's so many people to bounce something off of. It's insane. It's just insane. I feel very fortunate to have that many people to go bounce an idea off. It's great.
That's me. So, could you tell us a little about either the day-to-day or like a fun story? I bet you've seen some things. I mean, 150,000 moves. You've seen some stuff.
All the fun stuff I can't really tell you. I'll tell you some cool stuff because a cool story. Because the fun stuff is stuff we don't want to put out there. But it's executing, problem solving is something that we do on a day-to-day basis. So I went down to a embassy in DC, and the embassy needed a 400-pound 10-foot table to go up to the 4th floor that didn't fit in the elevator.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it up the staircases, so I'm okay, well, what do we do? They only had these little, I think they were 4-by-foot windows or 3-by-3-foot windows. And when I measured the piece and the windows, we had to take the piece of window out, and if we did that, we would have a 1/2 inch on each side to squeeze this thing through a window 40 feet in the air. So what I ended up doing is I got a forklift and a crane, and using both of those to work together, we were able to get this piece up and then squeeze it through the window. Because if it had just dropped a little bit, the whole window is shattered.
Yeah.
We executed and got it in.
That's
Pretty
fantastic.
good. Yeah, it's fun.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. So Jason, I know you're not like large on titles and that kind of thing, but tell us, your title and maybe a little bit about like what it is you do here and like the structure a little bit.
All right. I am vice president of Moyer Sons, and my day-to-day basis deals with sales and marketing more than any aspect of the business. My brother does operations, but I come in, I show up, and I go through, like most of us, go through emails. I do estimates still to this day. I've been in the business. I started doing sales at 19. I just turned 40. So 21 years of walking through, I think I did the calc, I think I've been through 16,000 houses.
Wow.
That doesn't include the thousands I've done over the phone or through FaceTime. But I still do estimates on a day-to-day basis and help a sales team and support Dan and everybody else any way I can.
That's wonderful. Yeah. It's like a family here and at home. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 children. I have a 14-year-old and a almost 7-year-old.
And you coach year-round, it sounds like, yeah.
I do. So the big sport that I coach is lacrosse, which is year-round. And then my youngest, I played lacrosse. I never played soccer, but I do help out with his soccer team in the fall and his basketball in the winter. I help out with both of those. But the older ones only ever played lacrosse and a little bit of basketball. So it's fun. I love doing it. I do. I'm very, very passionate about both.
That's great. What is like the next big step in your business? Like what'll be different in say 1 to 5 years for you guys, for Moyer Sons?
A lot of little things, and then the bigger things are we're trying to find different solutions to moving, whether it be our small shipment solution, which is if you have a smaller move, which is considered for most movers with 3,000 pounds or less. I know I say 3,000 pounds or less, that's a lot of stuff. That's not in the household moving industry. So the normal turnaround time to get something like that from here to California, for us to put on a truck, could be 6 to 30 to 40 days to find the next truck to put on. The small shipment solution is essentially what you call crate and freight. It's how moving started. You put it on a train or on the air and it gets it out to California in 10 days.
Wow.
So you have to find trusted partners and everything else around the country to help you get the move.
Execute that.
Execute the move into the California shipment. International moves, we're looking to build into the international sector of moving, and along with just a lot of finding new ways, using technology. Like I'm big on FaceTiming. Like if somebody doesn't have time, they come home late or they're out of state, I FaceTime or Skype them and they walk me through their house using their phones, and that's how I do the estimate.
Wow.
So it's a lot of little things. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
It's fun.
that is fun.
Yeah.
Finding solutions and keeping moving forward because it's changing so fast. Technology and all that. I mean,
There's all kinds of new stuff that wasn't there years ago. So.
Yeah, 50 years, your whole family has seen a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must be proud, to have that legacy and.
I truly am. When I was 18, I said I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to create my own business, and then about 6 months later, I said I'm going to go work for the family, and it was the best decision. I really do truly love this. I care about what I do, and the older I get, the more I try to give back. So I joined the American Movement Storage Association's Small and Independent Mover Committee. And then I'm very proud to say, as of today, when we're taping this, I'm part of the Maryland Motor Truck Association's Maryland Movers Conference, and we were able to push through legislation to make moving regulated in the state of Maryland. So
that's great.
Yeah. So every good mover will be now licensed through the Department of Labor, the DLR, or whatever that is.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know a company is a good company when they're trying to get regulation in to manage that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for being a partner of Real Producers and for being here today. So thanks a lot.
Well, I appreciate your time. I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.
You've heard it from DC Metro Real Producers.